conversations when I was joining was more about G's desire to free his time to focus more on the product side of things, even then. And there wasn't an explicit conversation about how this is going to play out. But the conversation was very much that he wanted someone to help him lead the company entirely, and that was why having the team report to both of us was important, and really jointly leading the company. He focused for that first year and a half his time more on product and engineering. I focused my time more on go-to-market, so sales and marketing, and some of the investor work. And that's how we thought about it. So there wasn't really, the decision that we made was made relatively recently, but there was an understanding that G was looking for someone to help him lead the company.
Hi, wherever you're joining us, I hope you're doing well. Welcome to Tech Conversations, where I bring you insights from tech entrepreneurs, CXOs, and investors. I'm Hari Arakli, and in this episode, I catch up with Dennis Woodside, CEO and President at Freshworks, the NASDAQ-listed SaaS company that started life in Chennai. As many of you know, Dennis joined Freshworks close to 2 years ago and brings with him the experience of having led multi-billion-dollar operations before. In this conversation, Dennis touches upon topics including the timing of his taking over the top job from Freshworks' founder Girish Mathrubootham, who plans to focus on the company's product strategy, how Freshworks might get to its first target of $1 billion in revenue by 2026, and how Dennis views India, not only from the point of view of technical talent, but also as a market as Freshworks evolves into a larger enterprise software company. Dennis, very nice to meet you in person. I know we've spoken before online.
It's great to meet you.
Thank you for making time for us. Congratulations on becoming CEO at Freshworks.
Thank you.
Maybe you can start us off with that. I mean, give us a little bit of a peek behind the scenes in terms of the brainstorming that went into the future of Freshworks and how you all strategized about it, and sort of the transition to you becoming CEO.
Sure. So I joined, as you know, in September of 22, so about a year and a half ago. And at the time I was talking to Freshworks and Girish, there was the possibility down the road that he would want to spend more time sort of on product, on engineering, on forward-looking stuff. So when I came into the company, we had the team report both to me and to him. So we really were co-leading the business for well over a year. And that gave me a chance to learn the business. It gave G a chance to learn about me and make decisions as to, whether he trusted this guy coming in from the outside. And it gave the team some time to settle in as well with me. And as that kind of time went on, G has been the leader and the CEO of the company for 14 years. He's accomplished a huge amount. I think one of the hardest things to do in business is create, something out of nothing at all these offices, employing close to 5,000 people. And he wanted to go back to his roots in that he wanted to spend more time thinking about the future, thinking about AI, thinking about how Freshworks is going to evolve from a technology and product standpoint. And he didn't want to necessarily have to spend his time on a lot of the duties of a public CEO. There's a side of work around working with investors and managing your relationship with investors. There's a lot of work around meeting with your current customers and partners. He wanted to spend his time very much on product and engineering. So as time went on, he got more comfortable with me, the board got more comfortable, and he, I think, started realizing that he wanted to make that move and to enter that next chapter of his development in his life. And so we aligned on doing that at the last earnings call in May. And so far, it's been about 5 weeks. I've been to India twice. I was here for the announcement, right after the announcement. We did an all hands in Chennai then, and I spent time with the teams, both G and I. And then I spent last week in Chennai. I'm here in Bangalore for a couple days, and then back to Chennai later this week. So it's been a whirlwind. And in between there, I went to Boston and New York for some of the investor discussions that I was talking about. So that's a little bit of the story of how we made the transition and the rationale behind it.
Can you tell us a bit more about the timing of your movement to becoming CEO as well? I mean, what are some of the other factors involved in terms of, for example, the size of Freshworks, the external macro environment, and any other factors that might have gone into it?
Yeah, I think most of it was getting, for both of us to get comfortable that we were ready, that I was ready to assume the CEO role, and that G was ready to pass that along to me. And it was about ensuring that we have a good plan, a good alignment on what the next couple of years look like for the company. We've put out there in the public markets our march to $1 billion company. We've just in the last year and a half moved from not generating a lot of cash to clearly cash flow positive and on our way to profitability. So all those things were important and went into the decision. But I wouldn't say that there was an external factor. It was really, were we ready?
One last quick question looking back, and then I generally like to sort of make my stories forward-looking. How back into your coming to Freshworks, did you both talk about you becoming the CEO? Was it in the conversations with Girish when you were coming into the company itself?
No, the conversations when I was joining was more about the G's desire to free his time to focus more on the product side of things, even then. And there wasn't an explicit conversation about how this is going to play out. But the conversation was very much that he wanted someone to help him lead the company entirely, and that was why having the team report to both of us was important, and really jointly leading the company. He focused for that first year and a half his time more on product and engineering. I focused my time more on go-to-market, so sales and marketing, and some of the investor work. And that's how we thought about it. So there wasn't really, the decision that we made was made relatively recently, but there was an understanding that G was looking for someone to help him lead the company when I joined.
Okay, so let's talk about some of the things that you mentioned briefly. AI is a very big part of the future of Freshworks, and I guess also part of the logic of you taking on the top job is that you've previously already led multi-billion-dollar operations. And that's where you want to go with Freshworks.
Yes.
So at this point, can you walk us through what are some of the most important things that you see that are needed at Freshworks, and give us a sense of all the different things that you're doing to prepare for that?
Well, let me start with just talking about the amazing position that we're in today. So Freshworks today has well over 60,000 customers worldwide across 3 different product lines. The products that we sell are necessary for every business in the world to serve its customers and its employees. We provide automation for IT departments, enabling them to do their jobs better, provide technology to their employees. We provide technology to the customer support team to automate how they interact with their customers, and that allows customers like Dunzo to serve millions of customers of their own. And so the markets that we're in are huge, they're global. And the software we build, it's not optional. Every company needs what we produce now, and many companies are still early in their journey to digitizing their operations, transforming the way that they work, using technology, and we can play a big role there. I think AI is the next set of capabilities that we're putting on the platform that we've already built, right? So a customer that already, like a Dunzo, that already has millions of customers that isn't going to be able to hire tens of thousands of customer support people. They can use technology to solve their customers' problems, and that's a role that we can play. So I think we're in a great position, but going forward, it's really all about scaling up from here. And we're in a business where we potentially could have hundreds of thousands of customers. We potentially could have billions of revenue over time, because what we do is essential for any business in the world.
Can you break that timeline down for us into, say, maybe 3 years, 5 years, 10 years? I know the 10-year part certainly is, it's anybody's guess, but the 3-year to 5-year horizon, give us a sense of what you would like to accomplish if things go well.
Yeah, so we've talked a bit about sort of from a financial standpoint how we see things shaping up. $1 billion in 2026 is certainly in the cards. We continue to see larger and larger customers use us to run their business. Like an example in India is Mahindra and Mahindra, right? Large automaker, big company. Their IT department is powered on Freshservice. And so any internal question that an employee may have at Mahindra and Mahindra about their IT, software problems, password problems, that's all managed through Freshservice. When there are outages, when there's servers that might be down, those can be detected and then problem managed through our Freshservice product. So we see more and more opportunity in larger and larger accounts all throughout the world who are digitizing their business and looking for a solution to automating the way they interact with their customers and solve problems.
So in this context, can you give us an update on your journey to becoming more of an enterprise customer business? Because you started out with very small businesses as your customers, and you have a stated aim of going after larger accounts.
Yeah, so larger accounts today are driving the growth of our business. If you look, some of the numbers that we disclose, we share companies that are spending more than $50,000 with Freshworks. And that's a number we disclose every quarter. That's been driving a substantial part of our growth overall. We still acquire hundreds of new businesses every single quarter. Many of them are small, but we also work with the biggest unicorns like a PhonePe in technology who have grown into larger and larger companies. And as they've grown, their relationship with us has grown. And we work with more established businesses like Tata Consumer Products, who uses us to manage all of their relationships with their distributors and with their customers who are distributors of consumer products. So that motion continues we continue to get pulled into larger and larger companies. And part of the reason is we built products that were designed to be easy to use, easy to deploy, easy to train your agents on in a way that no other company has done. And so that's led to our success. And I see that continuing over the next 3 years. I think you'll see more and more usage of AI and more deployment of AI across our products. We're already seeing great success, in particular in two areas. Our self-serve product, we call it Freddy Self-Serve. That's an AI product that enables customers to chat with an AI agent and get their problem resolved without necessarily talking to a human. We see customers like Tata or like Dunzo deflecting lots of their inbound queries through the use of that AI. And then we have Freddy Copilot, which makes the agent more effective. And that's for both IT and for customer support. But think of an agent who has to understand a complex product set. They might be getting a question on something that they don't have at their fingertips the answer to. The AI can suggest an answer. And because the AI has already been trained on all the product manuals, all the prior questions that the company has received from customers, all that can help. So I see us being more AI enabled. I see AI being a bigger and bigger part of what we do. It allows us to deliver a very powerful service to our customers and help them transform their business.
What are the portions of Freshworks which are already doing very well in terms of product features and how they're useful to customers? And what are the areas where it's still work in progress? I guess I'm saying, is it a question of building depth in all the existing segments versus becoming more of a full suite provider? How do you look at it?
It's a little of both is the answer. So let's just talk about AI for a second. So we've had AI in our products since around 2018. That's when we first started introducing machine learning, natural language processing, that sort of thing. Today, we have 70 distinct features, AI-powered features across all of our products. An example is summarization. We can summarize a complex interaction between a customer and an agent. We can then use that summarization to create a report for that agent's manager. So someone who wasn't in the interaction between the customer can understand what happened, and then they can act upon it. That's a single feature called summarization. We have 70 similar features across our products, and we're launching new ones all the time, whether that's through Copilot or Freddy Self-Serve. So that AI suite of products, that's going to get deeper and deeper over time. And we do all that from Bangalore and Hyderabad and Chennai. We have close to 2,000 technical employees that have built a platform that allows us to use the best of breed LLMs, whether that's Azure, OpenAI, or Anthropic or open source LLMs to power those features. So I see AI getting deeper and deeper, and the feature set getting richer and richer to create a very natural interaction between a customer or an employee and a virtual agent. So that, I would say, is an instance of going deeper. But then if you look at some of our other areas like IT, there's opportunities to go broader as well. An example there is IT operations management, right, which is a product capability that we launched about 2 years ago. That allows an IT team to manage things like we have to get together in a scrum because there might be a problem somewhere. We create the tools, the integrations with products like Slack to allow you to manage any kind of a crisis or an event through that product. Another example is a product we launched last year called Freshworks for business teams. So if you think of Freshworks, Freshservice, it's a service desk that allows employees to ask questions and get answers, right? Whether that's automated or from a human or from a FAQ center. Freshservice for business teams does the same thing outside of IT. So if I'm in the finance department or if I have a question about finance as an employee, I need an employment verification letter. That all can be done through Freshservice for business teams. So it's a combination of going deeper and going broader, and that's how we're going to continue to grow the business.
And in this context, how important are targeted acquisitions? I know you made a few.
Yeah, so we recently announced an acquisition of Device42. That's an example of us going deeper into an area. So Device42 is a company that focuses on asset management for IT. Now, we had asset management capabilities, and we have asset management capabilities in Freshservice, but we're a cloud-native company. So we're very good at detecting assets that are in the cloud. What Device42 does very well is they can understand the asset landscape on-prem. And many of our companies, especially when you're talking about these more established companies like a Tata or a Mahindra, they have a large IT footprint that's not on cloud. Servers and other products, software that's actually based inside their firewall and that our product can't detect as well. So Device42 understands every IT asset in a company. It literally scans for computers and servers and catalogs them and catalogs the relationships between them. And that capability is something that larger and larger accounts were asking us for. So that's an example of going deeper in an area that we had capability in. For us to build what Device42 already had would take us years, and it's an area that we didn't necessarily have the expertise. So it made a lot of sense to acquire them. Their founder, Raj Jalan, is actually going to be in Chennai next week, meeting with the team here. I think one of the exciting things for them is they get more resources from us to fulfill the vision that they have for that business. And they have the opportunity to sell Device42's product into our existing base of tens of thousands of customers. So we're excited about that one. But I see more acquisitions for sure. We'll always look at areas where we might be able to acquire talent, acquire a team, or enhance our product line.
Can you step back and give us a sense of how the SaaS industry is changing today, also including how your large customers are changing the way, or important ways they might be changing the way they use SaaS software? And in that context, what are some ways in which Freshworks stands out, or you have some advantages? What are some of the things that are working for you?
Yeah, I think there's two big trends that are positively affecting our business today. The first is the emergence of what I would call SaaS 2.0 and companies that take advantage of that. And what I mean by that is, if you roll the clock back 15 years ago, that's when ServiceNow was getting started. That's when Salesforce was scaling up. Those are the first real SaaS pioneers. And if you wanted a SaaS-based CRM or you wanted a SaaS-based service automation tool, you kind of have one choice. And that was true for a very long time. But now there are many more choices. And what we've been able to do is provide products that are easier to use, faster to deploy, and lower total cost, that are cloud native from day one, mobile from day one, in a single unified code base for the most part. So that's a trend that we've been riding, right? This is now what I call SaaS 2.0, where the kind of the early players are now kind of playing out the strategy that they've had. They're not growing at the same rate necessarily. Customers are looking for choice, and we provide that choice both in the IT category and in customer support. The other big trend is AI, obviously, and every SaaS business is trying to figure out how do we incorporate, embrace AI, and bring AI to our customers. Because most customers, they're not going to have the tools to do all the things that we did. I was talking about the 70 features that we've launched, and we have many engineers who are specializing in AI. Most customers don't have that capability. So they're looking for us to bring to them the best capabilities in AI to make their interactions with their employees and their customers more effective.
In recent times, you've brought in some really in the industry well-known leaders who probably report to you directly. Can you give us a sense of the team that you have now assembled?
Yeah, so the team that we have is very much, I would say, world-class, right? We have a CFO who's been a public company CFO for a long period of time, general counsel, same thing. Brought in a new head of people who had experience scaling up LinkedIn, which is obviously a successful company, global company, huge impact, very mission driven. Recently, we've added two new leaders. Miki Yamamoto is heading up our marketing team as well as our inbound sales business. So the history of Freshworks is inbound sales. Most of our customers come to us, they start a trial, and then once they get value from the product, they start paying us. That's what we call inbound sales. They tend to be smaller businesses, but many of our largest accounts started out as inbound leads. So Mika is driving that. She comes to us from F5, which is a large enterprise software company. Prior to that, she had roles at Adobe and Marketo, and she's managed both small and large businesses. Abe Smith joined us recently from Zoom, where he was heading up international sales, so everything outside the US. And Zoom, obviously, over the last 5 years, went through a massive growth. So he understands scale and the imperative around growth and how to drive growth at scale. So these are some of the things that we've done and some of the changes. He's very much focused on that field business and outbound sales. Yeah. And my belief is that you get the right people, you give them the right roles, give them the right direction, and then set expectations about how you want them to work together, and then great things happen.
Okay, you've mentioned several Indian examples of customers and what you've been doing here. So let me ask you first about the market part of it. India as a market, give us a sense of where it is today for you and what you think is the potential for it, where can it go?
Well, I think India is important to us for many reasons. The first and foremost is talent. And nearly all of our product development is done in India. So for us, access to talent, engineering talent, product talent, marketing talent, sales talent, super important. And most of our employees are in India. So continuing to build that employer brand, attracting the best and brightest to Freshworks is super important for us. India is also important because it's really the marquee market for Freshworks. It's the market where we have probably the best known brand because of our success as a Indian-born company, and it's where we've been in market with our field team the longest and have some of our kind of largest and most marquee customers, many of which I was mentioning today. So it's important for that reason as well. I think where we see India going from a market standpoint, we've done very well with what I'd say are the tech unicorns, right? The PhonePays and the Dunzos and the Purples. And they're going to continue to scale and be successful with us. We're doing well with the more established players as well, like a Mahindra and a Tata, or parts of their conglomerates overall. We're making investments in government because every government has customers, has an IT department. They can use our products as well. That I see as a big source of growth for us over time. That's just getting going. So I think India is going to continue to be a really important part of our overall business. At the same time, 45% of our revenue is coming from the US, about 40% from Europe. So we are truly a global company at this point. And our customer makeup really is the world. So the trick from a managing standpoint is how do you retain that advantage that you have in India, both in talent and in the market, while continuing to grow outside of India into these big established tech markets like the US.
So if you were to make an informed guesstimate, 10 years from now, what proportion of your revenue would you say might come from India?
Yeah, I think our revenue generally is going to reflect SaaS, the software landscape overall. And today, at least, the US is the largest software market in the world, and not surprisingly, the US is our largest market for software for our products. So I think that India and our business in India will skew a little bit higher than that overall software market because it's our home market, because we got started here. But generally, it's going to be similar to the overall software market.
Okay. Can you talk about? I know that you said that pretty much all of your product engineering happens out of India. Are there pockets of development, maybe really advanced AI or some other sort of quote unquote deep tech kind of software? Do you have the people that you need coming out of India now? And where do you see this going? How much further can you push the envelope in terms of building everything from India?
Yeah, I think we'll see. Now, with Device 42, for the first time, we have software developers outside of India. But until then, all of our software development has been in India. And I think as the company grows, we'll continue to look for talent wherever that talent may be. And if we find a team somewhere that we want to acquire that has a special skill, whether that's AI or something else, then we'll find people wherever they are and bring them into the company. But we've been very pleased with what we've been able to accomplish in India. And I think having 3 centers in India, accessing slightly different talent pools in Bangalore, Hyderabad, and Chennai has put us in a good place. An example of one of the things that we've been able to do very quickly is lean into AI. So about a little over a year ago, G decided, okay, we really needed to go all in on AI. He spent quite a bit of time in Chennai working with the teams and spinning up what now is all of the effort behind Freddy Self-Serve and Freddy Copilot. All of those features that I'm talking about, the 70 different AI-powered features that are across all of our products, the vast majority of those were built in the last 12 months, and all of them came from India. We wouldn't have been able to do that if we had a small team in the US and didn't have the capabilities that we've invested in and grown over the last several years. So I think our philosophy is that capability in software in particular, also with AI enabling faster learning cycles around software, that capability is global. And India's got a lot of great software developers, so we want to tap into that and continue to grow our teams here.
What is your sense of the current macroeconomic situation, including all the geopolitics that's happening? Would you say things are looking up? Would you say there is more optimism in terms of a pickup in growth overall?
I think it's mixed. I think if you talk to larger organizations, larger companies, they're looking to invest in software that makes their team more productive. They're looking to save money by finding solutions that are lower cost than what they may have bought in the past. They're looking for automation, and they're looking for AI in every product that they buy. So they're making decisions, and that puts us in a really good place. If you talk to smaller businesses, they tend to be a little bit more under stress of the higher interest rates and higher inflation. So small business formation is not as rapid as it has been in the past. Smaller businesses are having a little bit more of a challenge. So that's true in the US. We see that generally speaking globally. And I think that's going to continue so long as you have this high interest rate environment, really in most large economies.
Okay, a couple of standard questions, and then I'll wrap up, Dennis. What sort of keeps you up at night in a sort of Freshworks specific, question in terms of things that could play spoilsport?
I wouldn't say that there are specific things that could play spoilsport that keep me up at night. I think the things that we are spending a lot of time on as a management team are AI. And first is getting the capabilities out there, and then second is working with our customers to help them understand the value, right? Because AI is new for them. There's questions that they have about the safety of AI, whether the AI is going to say something or do something that might not reflect their brand. So we spend a lot of time getting customers comfortable with how they can use AI, how they can get value from AI. So that's a big topic for us. We spend a lot of time on talent. How do we continue to attract the best engineers in particular? We spend a lot of time on what capability might be outside the company that we should be thinking about bringing into the company, whether that's small acquisitions or other things. We're spending a lot of time now, since we just closed the Device42 acquisition, on how do we make the best of that acquisition? How do we really create value, bring them into more and more customers, and scale that business? So those are some of the things that we talk about as a leadership team.
Okay, give me one question. What should I have been asking you that I didn't know to ask you about? That's really germane to the future of Freshworks. I mean, something that may not immediately be obvious or apparent to us internally.
I think so. So as successful as Freshworks has been, I think the thing that is important to bear in mind is the market we are competing in is global. Every company in the world needs the software that we have. At the same time, we're competing against some of the largest companies in the world, and we're partnering with some of the largest companies in the world. So there's a chess game that if you're the CEO of a company like ours, that you have to constantly play. And G has played it incredibly well up till now. Who do you partner with? One of our biggest partners is Amazon and AWS. We built the company on Amazon. But today we're also using Azure OpenAI. We're also using Anthropic. We're talking to Google. So how you construct that partnership with your suppliers is really important. If you think about from a competition standpoint, I mentioned we're competing with Salesforce, which is, I think, $200 billion market cap. We're competing with ServiceNow. I was on the board of ServiceNow. It's now a $150 billion market cap company. So we're much smaller than that, right? We're much earlier in our life than them. We're much younger. So how do we think about that youth and that kind of position that we have as an advantage in going after these bigger, more established, perhaps maybe more stuck in their ways types of companies? That's something that we're constantly thinking about. So I think it's a really exciting time to be at Freshworks because we're big enough, we're large enough to deliver amazing products and have amazing customers, but we're small enough to be nimble. At the same time, as a CEO, you have to constantly be thinking about that chess game in order to continue to grow the company.